Oh baby, it's time to bash another terrible and garbage series. And unlike my previous Harry Potter video, this will be a shorter one because this franchise is actually not that deep, despite it having nearly. Yeah, I think it has even more screen time than Harry Potter series, but it is so garbage that there is nothing much to talk about. We will talk about Money Heist, also known as La Casa de Papel. This is one of those series that everyone likes for some reason, but it's absolute garbage. Like, I can't stand this series. I don't understand why people like it. There are many things to cover up here. So let's begin. First of all, I will be talking about two main problems with this series. First will be the cringe characters, and my god, the main characters are so cringe. First of all, the Tokyo character. You know, I personally hate this character type all the time, but Tokyo is also a badly written character here because the character is those, hot-headed, strong, independent woman type character, but it is too much with this character. Like, you can't stand her, and she always causes trouble for her team. And in especially in the beginning of season 3, I just wanted to kill this character. I wish she was real right in front of me so that I could kill her. And the Rio character is, he might be even worse. Like, again, he's a kid among man and woman basically. Again, he caused lots of trouble here, and he's weak-minded. I hate, again, another character type that I hate. He immediately loses his cool. Like, I don't understand why people like this character. And these two find each other actually perfectly, because they both suck, they both are garbage, and they both make me want to kill myself basically themselves. And again, in the beginning of season 3, like, they caused trouble for the entire team for nothing. Like, the authors are so lazy that they couldn't find a real reason. Like, they just, you know, they probably think that, these are assholes, these are irresponsible. How about they, phone call each other and, allow themselves captured? Like, it is as simple as that when you writing a storyline around these garbage characters. The storyline will also be garbage and meaningless. So I couldn't. Now, I am kind of a person that would finish what he started. Like, I don't remember beginning a series but leaving it in half at the, half of the, series. I actually done that with this shit because in the third season, Tokyo, and the beginning of that season was so garbage that I actually left. And years later, I learned that Tokyo finally died. Like, people around me talked about it, and I decided to finish this series because of that. And I actually managed to endure all the stupid shit that, Tokyo Oreo came with, because I knew that slut would die in the end. This is how I endured that shit. Otherwise, there is no way I could endure that. Now, there are some other cringe characters as well. Let's talk about that Raquel character. There are some situations where, the plan gone into trouble, and it looked like the professor saved the situation by being a genius, but most of the time it was Raquel, this Raquel character being a dumbass because professor actually, affected her in, sexual romantic way. Like, this character is so dumbass. I remember in one of these episodes, I remember in the first season, she just pointed a gun at him. I was like, yeah, she finally understand, this asshole is their leader. But in the next episode, again, we see that she understand nothing. She kept trusting this asshole, and she failed at her job. So that character was garbage again. She was stupid. It's she's stupidity that allowed our gang to, be successful at their, robbery, because she was a dumbass. And I didn't like that character until she bitch slapped Tokyo in that one episode. And that was so stupid as well. Like, Tokyo just saw her and immediately began trash talk. Like, what are you doing? Like, do you understand how stupid it is? You see her together with Professor, they are living a life, and you see her and you begin trash talking. Like, why are you doing this shit? This is what I'm talking about, No matter how hot headed you are, no matter how bitchy you are, you wouldn't do that. Like, this character always does that shit and makes me feel annoyed. Fuck Tokyo again. Raquel character is saved lately. And who is another main character? It's Denver with that dumbass laugh. Like whenever he makes that laugh, I want to, shut the screen with a gun or something, because I can't stand it's so garbage. Like, I don't understand why people like that laugh. They're like, like, what the fuck is this shit, man? It is not funny. Outside of that laugh, the character wasn't really that bad, but again, why do you give this character, you know, that stupid laugh for some reason? You know, the main characters are already garbage. Like, and whenever I actually, get used to a character, I begin kind of liking it. They immediately kill that character. Just as I felt some sympathy for, Nairobi, Moscow, I couldn't remember his real name. Moscow, Denver's father. That character was, actually quite good, and all these characters died. And the most cringe and garbage ones lived until the end. Like, Tokyo Light died in the last episodes. Rio lived, Raquel lived, Denver lived. Like, all the garbage ones lived, and all the kinda good ones died. I felt some sympathy towards Nairobi, although she was basically, you know, uh, he was Tokyo's sidekick, basically her side bitch. But at least she had a kid. She wanted to reunite with him, but of course she dragged into all this mess, all these crimes, so she can't be with him, and she regrets everything. So that's a good character, actually. I remember there was that one point that Rio, that dumbass, told her that, she can have another kid, whenever she wants. Like, and then of course she got snapped. She was, going wild against Rio. Like, she kind of earned my respect, and she immediately later she died, basically. One of the characters that should have lived until the end, in my opinion. Also, she had that fat boyfriend of his. She was kind of nice as well. Again, died. And he suffered a lot, actually. If I remember correctly, at one point he got shot. You know, they wanted some, medical team, and during the whole time he was suffering, like. And of course, Berlin character died again. They used him in flashbacks. you know Probably one of the best characters in there, despite having some garbage, traits, personality traits. Now, I remember he had that young girl with him, and she was asking, like, do you want to be with me? Like, you keep that girl hostage. Even if that girl tells you that, she wants to sleep with you, you shouldn't believe that shit. you know this, in the end, everyone in this series is a piece of shit. Like, they have some qualities, some of them, but in the end, all of them are asshole. None of them is good. None of them has morals or anything. And I don't like franchises like that. And the second reason is as bad as the first one: manipulative storyline. Now, this is something that I hate so much, that if I discover that shit in basically anything, I immediately hate that. And this franchise heavily has that. So what do I mean by that? Let me explain. Main characters are a bunch of criminals. They try to enter the Royal Mint. They kept innocent people as hostages, and they try to rob there, basically. So they resort to the cheapest ways possible to make us feel sympathy for this guy. These people, I mean. First of all, they added all these assholes behind that barricades, that, supporting these people. First of all, no government, and I mean no government, would allow that shit. You you can't, cheer for these people. They are criminals that entered the Royal Mint, and these people kept innocent people's hostages. Imagine that you have a close friend, or maybe your daughter, in there, kept hostage by these people, and from time to time, the cops and the criminals are shooting each other. Sometimes the police, doing operations to the building. Imagine your daughter is captured inside, and behind that fucking barricade, all these assholes cheering for the criminals. What is this shit? No country they will cheer for these assholes. Okay, this is number one. Number two is, whoever opposes these main characters, they are the right side. They are trying to, save the, captured people. They are trying to capture the criminals. So, in order to make us hate them, they basically gave them, terrible personal life, like Arturito cheating on his wife, or that that colonel don't give a shit about people, only want to save that daughter of someone important. If I remember correctly, Raquel's husband was, beating her, and I believe he was cheating her as well. You know, they always resort to the same thing, and like, they are giving them these personal weaknesses so that you hate them and like the main characters. But these people are the right side. Arturito is a piece of shit, but he's in the right side. He tries to rebel against these criminals. Now, I can't hate this character because I hate the main character so much that I actually like Arturito, you know? Because I hate main characters. Like, I want someone to kill these assholes. On the contrary, they are trying to sell us the main characters as a bunch of miserable people. Like, these people are criminals. They probably killed multiple people in their lives. And of course, they are thieves, and some of them are not even miserable. Like characters like Berlin and his gang, they see robbery as an art. And I actually kind of like that, approach. It is an interesting character, but then Professor appears in several instances. I believe he was trying to defend himself and his group against Raquel when Raquel discovered the whole situation. Like he was telling her how these are just miserable people. He wants to help them. Yeah, like, come on, I'm not buying that shit. Let's not forget there are many people who had who born unlucky, and there are many people who had bad lives or unhappy lives, but there are many people who didn't choose the ways these main characters chose. Instead, they worked, and maybe they didn't earn much money, but instead of committing crimes, they chose an honorable path. So all these people are stupid, but these assholes are clever, huh? I hate that shit. And weak-minded people, or people who don't question what they are watching in their daily lives, these people will always eat these cheap tricks. But people who question what's going on, the people who have some empathy skills, will never fall down to these cheap tricks or cheap tracks traps. Another cheap trick is using sex to get viewers' attention. There are all kinds of fantasies out there, and the most disgusting one was with Berlin. I already talked about it a little, but let's dig into it a little bit more. Now he has that, you know, woman, you know, the woman is, his hostage. Well, he wants to have sex with her, asks her if she wants to have sex with him as well. Like, that girl is young. You got them captured. You have gun in your hands. You know, you can't, you know, you can't expect that girl to say no anyway. You know, this character is a rapist basically. I'm sorry. Him asking the girl to be with him in that, shy way, like, what the fuck is that? That doesn't even fit the Berlin character, like, in any way. Now let's get to the our slots basically. Tokyo and Nairobi is like seducting everything with a dick basically. If they saw a tree with a dick shaped branch, they would probably had sex with that tree either. You know, this is again, this is just cheap ways of satisfying the viewer. Like Game of Thrones has that too. Like, try to add as many fantasies inside as possible so that at least one fantasy would appease a person, because everyone has different fantasies. So that, and again, I feel that I feel all these tricks while I am watching it. It is not so hard to see. Look at the main characters, okay? And the couples doesn't fit each other as well. Like, I'm looking at Tokyo and Rio. Like, Rio is a pussy ass bitch, and Tokyo is a girl that holds a gun, can kill without any hesitation. Her first boyfriend that died in the beginning of the series. They fit each other more as a couple. When I'm looking at it, all right, these two, of course, they have a terrible life, etc., etc. When they look good together, they fit each other at least. And then I'm looking at Rio and Tokyo, like, what is that? And that Helsinki Nairobi couple was also kind of sucked. I don't even remember if they were actually a couple. They were, I believe, hanging around together, but they didn't have sex or anything. What else was there? Denver and was it Lisbon? I don't remember those gay names. You know, the one that Arturito got, the one that Arturito got pregnant. You know, that yellow-haired one. Again, same thing. You know, that Denver looks like a kid next to that girl. Basically, that girl looks much older. Like, I guess it is for the people that have stepmom fetishes, probably. Like, so that these people wouldn't mind all this stupid scenario and like could like the show. Basically, this is what they aiming for in the end. The only good couple was Professor and that Raquel character, and in the end they were like the only good characters, I believe. Like, again, Raquel character in the later seasons didn't bother me, and Professor character always had a charisma. I mean, all actors and actresses kind of were charismatic, but the script, you know, the scenario sucked ass, basically. Like, the actors and actresses were all talented, in my opinion. When I'm, you know, bashing these series, I'm not talking about the actors, I'm not talking about these people, I'm talking about the characters in front of the screen, basically. Berlin's son in the very end, he was really cool. Like, I remember I was so shocked. Like, they, you know, they show us these backflashes with Berlin and his son, and in the end they rob Professor just when he got the gold. And of course they remove their masks and we see, holy shit, it's Berlin's son that we see from since the beginning of the season in all these flashbacks. Like, that shit was actually good. Like, there are a few good portions. The fights and battle scenes was usually quite good. So I'm giving credit when it's due to given. Like, but in the end, the negatives are way more heavier than the positives here. So I think this series doesn't worth talking about it that much. You know, it's 25 or close to 25 minutes now. This series doesn't deserve any more than that. So peace out.